Senate jaws dropped to the ground after IG Horowitz dropped the bomb on James Comey by US4Trump.com. Well, look who is finally under investigation, if it isn't disgraced former FBI Director James Comey himself. And it's Horowitz who lets the cat out of the bag on Capitol Hill today. In a blockbuster reveal, the Daily Caller reports former FBI Director James Comey is under investigation for mishandling classified information. DOJ Inspector General Michael Horowitz revealed Monday. Senator Grassley interviews both current FBI Director Christopher Wray and the Department of Justice Inspector General Michael Horowitz. Earlier today, Grassley states Comey said he did not expect a report on his handling of classified information because that's frivolous. I don't happen to think that it is frivolous. Oh, after his statement, Senator Chuck Grassley asked question number 1 to Mr. Horowitz. Are you investigating the handling of his memo? And does that include the classification issues? And should Mr. Comey expect a report when it's complete? And Horowitz replied, we received a referral on that from the FBI. We are handling that referral and we will issue a report when the matter is complete, consistent with the law and rules, a report that's consistent and takes those into account. Let's take a listen now.
He denied deleting the Clinton emails. He denied that Clinton staff had ever asked him to delete the emails. He denied knowing the emails were under a preservation order. On March 2015, he had a call with Clinton's lawyers. Right after that, he used BleachBit to delete the Clinton emails. He invoked the Fifth Amendment to avoid questions about that call. He even sent an email saying that he was part of, quote, Hillary cover-up operation, end of quote. He later claimed that that was only a joke. But there was no search warrant or subpoena for the laptops used by the Clinton lawyers to see what they knew about what he did. He did not get the Mueller treatment. No charges for lying to the FBI repeatedly. No pressure to flip and testify against Clinton lawyers. Quite the opposite. He got immunity. This is a good example of a double standard in these two investigations and why more and more people are starting to believe the Mueller investigation lacks fairness. The report noted that Director Comey pressured the team to close the case before the party convention, and he had already made up his mind to close it before all the work was done. Question number 1, isn't it improper to set a deadline to close a case based upon political calendar?
Mr. Chairman, I think if that's the only basis for setting the deadline, that would be an area of concern. And that was something we did ask about in connection with our report, given the various areas where Director Comey raised the concern about the political calendar. We had some information from some folks indicating that he separately suggested that in addition to concern about the political calendar, that they also should follow up as need be for their work. So that was the evidence we had before us.
Is it a fair inference, General Horowitz, for people to think that the time pressure and the predetermined decision not to charge Clinton explain the lack of interest in trying to charge and flip the witness?
It's certainly, as we've laid out here, one of the reasons given by the prosecutors with regard to certain of their decisions, that they felt it would have dragged on the investigation for too long, and that was in fact a factor in their consideration on how to resolve certain issues.
A second point would involve you and the director of FBI. The report notes that department prosecutors did not believe there was a substantial federal interest to charge the IT worker who deleted Clinton's emails with obstruction and false statements. However, it was clear that he lied to the FBI twice about deleting Clinton's archived emails. The emails had been subpoenaed and were subject to congressional preservation notice. The technician knew that when he deleted them. Question number 1 to both of you. Is granting immunity the only way to obtain truthful testimony from a witness And isn't there a substantial federal interest in determining obstruction of congressional investigations?
It isn't the only way to get testimony from individuals or information from individuals. Obviously, it depends on the facts, and also, as we laid out in the report, we found the conduct to be particularly serious.
Director Ray?
Likewise, I think there are a number of ways to secure truthful testimony from witnesses, not just one. And certainly my own view is that efforts to obstruct investigations are something we need to take extremely seriously at the federal level.
Okay, thank you. To the Mr. Horowitz, did the officials specifically tell you that obstructing Congress was not a matter of substantial federal interest?
They did specifically say that to us. We asked them for their reasons, and they explained various other reasons that we lay out in the report.
Okay. Former Director Comey said on television that the Inspector General interviewed him about the handling of his memos of conversations with President Trump. Some of those memos contained classified information. Comey said he did not expect a report on his handling of classified information because, quote unquote, that's frivolous. I don't happen to think that it is frivolous. Question number one to Mr. Horowitz, are you investigating Comey's handling of his memos, and does that include the classification issues, and should Mr. Comey expect a report when it is complete?
We received a referral on that from the FBI. We are handling that referral, and we will issue a report when the matter is complete, consistent with the law and rules that are, and a report that's consistent and takes those into account.
Okay. In the FBI's response to the Inspector General's report, the FBI said, quote, there is no indication that any classified material ever transited former Director Comey, Ms. Page's, or Mr. Strzok's personal devices or accounts. But I thought neither the Inspector General nor the FBI actually looked at their personal devices. I sent a letter to you, Director Ray, this morning on this topic, but I wanted to ask you, how can the FBI conclude no classified material was on their personal devices if you didn't even look at their devices?
Mr. Chairman, first, as to your letter, I haven't obviously seen your letter of today, but I'm happy to take a look at it and make sure we're being responsive to you on that. On the second part of your question and the words in our response to the Inspector General's report, I don't think we're attempting to characterize some independent investigation of our own, but rather to refer to the language in the Inspector General's report and to clarify that the findings that we're reacting to did not themselves identify any passage of classified information.
Okay. During the course of the review, you found that several of the people investigating Secretary Clinton for using personal email were doing the same thing themselves. Each agency and every employee has an obligation to comply with the Federal Records Act. Question number one to Mr. Horowitz, in light of the law's record-keeping requirements, how did you try to get access to their personal devices or accounts?
One of the challenges we had, as we note in the report, is that to gain access to personal emails would have required either a grand jury subpoena or a search warrant, given the facts of this case. And so we were limited, because our administrative subpoena authority doesn't cover this, to ask for voluntary cooperation. We were given oral representations. We were not given access to the email accounts.
Yeah. So I don't go over my 8 minutes. I think I'll reserve my 24 seconds. Senator Feinstein.
Thanks very much, Mr. Chairman.
As you can see, Comey is under investigation, but, you know, look, somebody's got to be held accountable eventually, because our patience is running thin. That's basically it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and again, thank you so much for watching.